LeBron putting too much pressure on the James family?
Man, I don't like this one, Bron. I actually hate this for Bronny. Putting entirely too much pressure on the James family. LeBron is essentially putting the legacy of himself in the hands of his son. Why do I say that? Because LeBron James' story cannot end until Bronny ends it. Think about it, Slick. You're giving me that look. Sal, you're giving me that look as well. A little curious of what I'm saying. Bron has said he don't want to hang up. He don't want to call it quits until he plays with his son. That means LeBron is going to keep hanging on and hanging on and hanging on until Bronny is ready. Imagine the pressure that puts on Bronny. Slick, my grandma recently passed she passed a year ago. We recently went to the burial recently. And what I've learned about death, both in learning that passing and reading about death from different authors, et cetera, is oftentimes you have to give someone permission to die. I encourage y'all at home to read into this. Oftentimes you have to give someone permission to die. My dad goes to visit my grandmother. She was well over 100, lived a full life. And 2 days after visiting her, she passed away. It was as if she was holding on until he had finally given her permission to go. I bring that up into this point because LeBron James has actually verbalized as a basketball career in that death what we have now learned so often in society about death. You got to get permission oftentimes to go. Bronny now has to give LeBron permission to retire. LeBron has said, I don't want to call it quits until I can play with my son. That means you are now putting the legacy, the duration, the esteem, and the estate of your career into the hands of Bronny. And what if he don't make it? What if you don't ever get that permission? Now, Bronny has to hang with that for the rest of his basketball career or lack thereof professionally. So I personally do not like it, particularly as a less athletically talented person in my family. My brother played 9 years in the National Football League. Only played for 3 organizations. 4 years with the Bears, 4 years with the Cardinals, 1 year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Meanwhile, I scratched and clawed to play 4 years in the NFL. I was on the Giants practice squad. I was on the Eagles active roster. I did tryouts with a litany of teams. I understand the pressure that is associated with carrying on a last name of somebody who is more talented than you. That is a lot of pressure. I have at times succumbed to that pressure, understanding, dang, my big brother is more talented than me at the game of football. That's a weight to carry. Now, thankfully, I found my confidence in other avenues, but as it pertained to the football field, that's a weight to carry. Bronny now has to carry the weight of, man, my dad is more talented than me and significantly more talented, more than likely. That's just a large weight to carry.
Tremendous take, and you hit me in the heart with your reference to your grandmother. I just lost my dad a couple months ago, and literally my mom saying to him, I'm going to be okay, you can go, to me was a turning point for him. You know, he finally let go, and he was in tremendous amount of pain. I agree with you. I don't believe that it's too much pressure to answer the question, because I can only imagine what it's like to be Bronny and to be the son of LeBron James. Regardless of what LeBron says or does, that pressure is there day in and day out, especially deciding to play basketball. It's going to be there. I get that sense of, hey, I've got to make the NBA. I've got to get there as soon as I can in order to fulfill what my dad wants. But that's not my issue with this statement. My great issue is that LeBron isn't increasing the pressure because the pressure is always there. He is robbing his son of the pleasure of whatever he does being his success. This is not about what Bronny wants. If LeBron had come at this and said, if Bronny makes the NBA, and if he's good enough, and if he wants me to play with him, I will do whatever is necessary in order to make that happen. I would love to do that. But then that puts it in Bronny's camp. The assumption here is that Bronny wants to play in the NBA, that he's good enough to play in the NBA, and that he wants to play with his dad. Now, I'm sure there's people out there that are saying, well, you know, I'm sure LeBron and Bronny have talked about this, and LeBron is confident that this is what Bronny wants. And I can tell you, as being the father of two teenagers right now, yeah, Sure. My son and I talked about this at one point, but they're teenagers, and what they feel now is dramatically different from what they feel a month from now, much less 2.5 years from now when this could potentially happen. So that's where I have an issue here. This is all about what LeBron wants. And to your point, Acho, like whatever you were able to do as a player, whatever you did as an athlete, you take full, I would guess that you take greater satisfaction out of that because in spite of being less athletic, you were able to get to the NFL and you were able to have the career that you had. And it was the launching point for you to go into other things. Whatever happens from this point forward, if Bronny does make it to the NBA, it's going to be because LeBron has said that he will play with Bronny wherever he goes. And there's a fine line, but a distinctive one between I will go wherever necessary to play with my son, and I'm willing to go to whoever is willing to sign my son. There's a difference between the two, and the difference is who it serves most.
Woo, man, you guys are on fire. I'm not going to come up here and start off talking about death. You guys already got me at the brink of tears, real talk. So the only thing I can add is the head of Sierra Canyon, where Bronny goes to school, is my man. That's my dog. That's my neighbor, actually, Jim Scrumbus. Got to give him some love right there. Why? Because everybody talk about Sierra Canyon all the time. It's a damn all-star team of these kids. And Bronny's good, so let's not act like this can't happen. He's ranked right now 43 of 60 prospects. I remind you guys, 43 of his class around the world. Okay, so he's somewhere. The name ain't going to take him all the way. He has some game with that. Now, let's talk about what's at play right here. I don't think LeBron's putting too much pressure on little Bronny. Let's be real. Pressure is based on consequences, okay? Acho said that he wasn't the most talented of his brothers, so he had to feel what that pressure was in terms of consequences. Well, let me tell you a different type of pressure. Where I grew up with no brothers, and I knew I had talent, and I knew the consequences of not living up to that same talent. To me, that was pressure. Because if I didn't go out there and change my family's generational wealth pattern, if I didn't go out there and change our family dynamics, I knew what the consequences were, brother. So to me, that's pressure. Now, let's be real. What are the consequences of Bronny not making it pro? I mean, what, he gonna be executive vice president of Clutch Sports? Like he gonna run LeBron Enterprises? Like, this is not gonna fall far, y'all. Whatever goes wrong, it's still gonna go hella right. Let me just tell y'all that. We are not going to sit up here and transfer his abundance into pressure and consequences now. No. You know what's pressure for Bronny right now? Being in fourth period and being famous already. You imagine that? You're in high school and you're in fourth period and you're famous. That's pressure. Making it to the NBA where my daddy already been, okay. Sounds good on paper, really not hitting me different. And this is unique, but it's nothing new. We remember Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. both playing at the same damn time. Actually, they were teammates, y'all. All right, so what LeBron's talking about, it's unique, but it's nothing new. He's not trying to just grab this out the sky. Tim Raines did it. Gordie Howe did it with his sons, played for like forever. Point being, this is not pressure. Let me end with this. My son right now wants to be two things in life. He's only 6. Okay, so walk with me, y'all. He wants to be a ninja like Ninjago, ninja. And I'm already looking at him like, you my ninja, so don't even trip. But he also wants to be a football player. And I remind you guys, my son doesn't play football. I remind you guys, I never talk about football with my son because I don't want to influence him. And he still wants to do it. So that's why I'm going to let LeBron off the hook. No matter what LeBron does. And you imagine you're going to school, your daddy is LeBron James, all your friends has on his shoes, and you're in fourth period just trying to chill out and learn. Man, this ain't on LeBron, y'all. This is just Bronny want to be like Pops.
I like it. Let me, I don't want to say push back. Pushing back
do it. Let's
confrontational. Let me just offer forward. Think about this, though, Sel. Remember Michael Vick, generational talent. Then there was younger brother Marcus Vick. And I'm not going to go into all the legal troubles of younger brother Marcus Vick, but trying to live up to that pressure of that last name of Vick, and Vick was a dude, is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There's Michael Jordan, oldest son, if I'm not mistaken, Jeffrey Jordan. Jeffrey Jordan hooped to some degree, but trying to live up to that last name of Jordan, whew, a lot of pressure. He had a couple legal troubles himself as of last year. I recall this, Slick Rick. 2 years ago, I was watching my homeboy play in the G League, and I'm just watching all these dudes. I really don't know any of their names, looking at some of the rosters. Maybe you can remember, oh, this cat played at Duke, this cat played it there. But one person was like, hey, that's John Stockton's son.
David Stockton.
There's pressure there because it's like, well, I don't know nobody else, and nobody really knows anybody else. We know this much. Hey, that's John Stockton's son.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
what are they saying about you is John Stockton's son? They're not saying his name, Slick. What's his name, sir?
David Stockton.
David Stockton. That was not his name. His name was John Stockton's son. And so I think Bronny's trying to navigate, first and foremost, it's Junior. Like, is Bronny's trying to navigate, at what point in time is he going to get his own identity? Marcellus hits the nail on the head when he says there's not a true ramification of pressure, but I think what we don't give enough credit and credence to Slick and enough credit and credence to Marcellus Wiley in this day and age of social media is the court of public opinion. And the court of public opinion might be just as lethal or just as damaging as the true court of law. And the court of public opinion could hurt Bronny because if all Bronny ever is LeBron James' son, that's a lot of pressure. Ending gets a story for him because I don't know if I'll get one more lap. Slick, I played basketball throughout high school. My coach thought I could have played in college, but I love football, I love track and field more, and I felt I could go further in football. Slick, we played our crosstown rivals, ESD, Episcopal School of Dallas. My brother and I were both on the same team. Whenever I got the ball and would dribble, the whole stadium would chant, shadow, 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 because I was living in my brother's shadow.
Oh, they got you.
There's a lot, and mind you, this is now 14, 15 years later, and I still remember this.
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure at times, understanding that you are in the shadow, if you will, of somebody who is more talented than you. I only speak from personal experience. This is a lot for Bronny.
But see, here's the thing, Acho, you just pointed it out. That was happening to you in high school. That happened, that didn't have anything to do with the NFL. It didn't have anything to do with necessarily the notoriety of your dad, your brother, and yet it created that pressure. Bronny, regardless of whether he's in basketball, whether he gets to the NBA, whether LeBron decides that makes this statement that he wants to play with him, that's already there. It's already there regardless of what he does. And what I really find fascinating, I don't know if you guys saw Space Jam 2, the whole theme of that movie is about LeBron's son, one of his two sons, not wanting to play basketball, wanting to be something other than a basketball player, and them getting crossways as a result of that. And that's where I look at this. Again, it's who is this serving? I'm sure that on some level, that LeBron James, maybe completely, LeBron James wants to be the father that he did not have. He wants to provide the opportunity for his son that he feels that his father not being there didn't necessarily provide from him. But there's such a thing as overcompensation. There's trying to give your kids something rather than allowing them to earn it themselves. And that's what I feel is going on here. Because regardless of whether LeBron would say anything or he would offer himself to the team that takes Bronny, there's still going to be that expectation. There was there with Jeffrey Jordan. There's there with David Stockton. There's there for the son of any NBA player, Cole Anthony, you name it. But at least they have an opportunity to start their career and prove themselves on their own. LeBron, by putting this out there now, preempts that opportunity for Bronny to prove on his own that he's an NBA player. He's basically saying, look, I don't know if he's going to make it or not, so I'm going to offer my services in addition to give him that boost. And to me, that takes something away. It would be for you, Acho, if Sam was like, I'm going to sign with this team, but you got to sign my brother too. Like, What? How would you feel about it? You would feel as if you didn't really accomplish that. You needed your brother to accomplish that. Whatever you did, Acho, you can say with certainty that you did it, that you did it on your own.
That's good.
LeBron is not allowing Bronny the opportunity to do that.
Let me chime in real quick, Sal, all you afterwards, real quick. I do recall, Slick, there were a couple teammates that both I played with and I knew of across college football where you would hear this joke, they were a package deal. Because there were two brothers that were on a team, but one was significantly less talented. So I'd be like, hey, how the heck did he get to Texas? How the heck did he get to OU? He's on Bama too? And they would be like, it was a package deal. Only way we were going to get the 5-star is if we told the parents we were going to sign the little brother too. And I always thought, yo, that would be terrible to be a part of a package deal. Imagine how that undermines any sort of accomplishment that the less talented individual has if they were a part of a package deal. Y'all can look up several of those names. I'm not going to slight both the younger nor the other individual, but I feel you, Slick. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
I'm glad you said nail on the head as I was writing the word nail down there. Y'all know one of my favorite Wiley-isms is everybody wants to go to the parade, but nobody wants to build the floats, right? And those floats get built many, many months before the parade, but everybody will show up for that damn parade. Here's the thing what we're not really discussing, but it's really the mental dynamic of success. And LeBron, in the sport of basketball, at worst, number 2 all time, many would say, right? Successful beyond, uber successful. Let's say that. Top 5, even if you don't like his game. Here's the thing. LeBron is basically looking at Bronny and knowing what it takes is expressing that to Bronny within their own private discussions. But then what he takes from it is the public display, the parade. But let's go back to where they built the floats. This is what LeBron's talking about at home. Look, son, I'll be the hammer. And we need some nails. We need some wood to build this thing, whichever it's going to be in terms of your career, who you're going to be. But that dynamic right there, and look at these conversations. As Acho points out, a lot of the times he felt like he was in the shadow of his brother. Kind of like how Eli must have felt with Peyton Manning in terms of being in the shadow. But remember, there was a hammer in that house too, Archie Manning, who let them kids know, hey, y'all got something to live up to. Now, I'm not going to go out there and say you're going to play with me. It was a different era. They didn't have social media, et cetera. Who knows? But there was a mental dynamic that fueled that level of success. So if every time Acho could bring up someone where you're like, damn, man, they didn't live up to the pressure and expectations, I could actually show you how the rich get richer. I could actually show you how second generation actually turned out even better, or at least qualified to be with their same father. There's a Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. We talk about the Mannings, etc. Why do I bring this up? Because y'all got to remember, man, Bronny is in a different place than us, man. Like, let's just like MJ doesn't even compare to what Bronny's going through. Like, you know, but his dad is successful, respect. But there comes a different conversation. And my mother and father used to have an issue at this because I made it. And when I made it, we made it, right? Because they're like, damn, he gonna take care of all of us. You're damn right I am. But the problem was with my mother to my father, hey, make sure that he gets a father, not a fan. Why do I bring that up? Be a father, not a fan. Because my dad was just pumped. My dad was like, my son made it. I ain't gonna say nothing, getting in his way, let him be. He's good, we good. And my mother was like, no, this don't stop. Keep upping the ante. Keep that pressure on him. The same thing that you did to keep him out those streets and away from all that adversity, it's another way to do that at the pro level. I think LeBron is recognizing that, hey, I'm not just going to let you rest on your laurels. Come on, man. You can get up here where I am somehow, some way. And then when you get up here, I'm going to meet you on that same team no matter where that is. Rich get richer, y'all. 1% of this world's wealth controls over half of the entire world's wealth. LeBron's in the 1%, 0.1 of that 1%. He's just telling his son how to build these floats. We're going to just check it out for the parade.